Hi there, this is Dr. Eve of Eve SpiritSpeaks MD YouTube channel. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I am an empowerment mentor and energy healer, and I am happy to be doing this series to help you identify someone who is narcissistic, just in case things are starting to turn a little sour in your relationship at work, home, or in the dating field, and you just can't quite figure out how did things change. You just can't put your finger on it, but something's just not right. I've had a number of people come to me in this situation, particularly those who met someone online. They started to online date during these times that we've been having, and even in a short time, they notice that something's going on that wouldn't usually. So we are now in the third section of dating a narcissistic person. We are going to talk today about the Convo Hogger. This is the person whom you might notice after an initial date or so begins to talk more about him or herself. Perhaps you've been on a few dates now and you take this person who has love bombed you, who has been very charismatic, who keeps flirting with you, and flirting is not a bad thing, but let's go on, who keeps telling you just how marvelous, brilliant, intelligent, beautiful you are. You might be with someone who has also, in turn, really gone fishing for compliments from you, or someone who just sits back and tells you about how fantastic he is and about what he's done and how companies can't do without him and he's just a blessing to these other people. Or it could be someone who is more covert and has been kind of like shucksing himself, saying exactly the opposite, saying how inept he is, how dumb he acted in this situation, to the point, though, you can just hear it, that he seems to be fishing for a compliment. He's dying for somebody to say, oh, heck no, that's not at all the way it was. You were fantastic. You were wonderful. Okay? Both are the same endpoint, where you're kind of going gaga over him or her. Okay? Now, here comes a nice opportunity. This guy who has professed his love for you in the first week or two, or first month, without even really knowing you, okay? You have decided that because your friends are having a gathering, and you too seem to be so close, you would like to invite him to be with your friends. Okay, first of all, this part happens a lot, but I am attempting to talk about a conversation hogger, and I have to stop for a moment and say that often a narcissist will not be interested in going to someone else's party where he is not, or she is not, going to be the focus of attention. So it might sound a little contrived if I say the person will say yes, but narcissists can say yes too, because after all, they can go steal attention from others at a social gathering. Okay, so let's say your few times date now says, all right, I'll go. He gets all dressed up to the nines. There's something called a somatic narcissist. And this type of narcissist makes sure everything looks great. If it's a woman, the makeup, the hair, the movements, posing with just the right outfits. With guys, there's posing, there's dressing. And of course, with metrosexuals, there can be more grooming too. Listen, we all like to look nice. And if we have a level of self-respect, we're going to do the right things to be acknowledged as someone who cares about oneself. The thing is that within a group of people doing this, you will notice those who might be dressed a bit more sharp or dapper than the others, and who may walk in a way that commands more attention. Okay? What happens when you bring your narcissistic date to the party? Conversations where he or she is involved may drift toward him because he likes to be the center of attention. So one thing can be brought up, one topic, and a story can get going. There can be different levels of this, but even before they get to the main part or the climax of a story, the narcissist might intervene while the other's taking a breath and make the story about him or herself. All right, you as the date may have noticed that and may be attempting to bring it back to the host of the party or to whomever was speaking before. You may notice more attempts that the narcissist makes to shift attention to your date. When you note that he is mingling with others, I think I'll just use they, okay, so that we don't have to worry about gender, because it's true that more men tend to be narcissistic than women. However, it can be either one. And so this is not about bashing any gender. When you are mingling together or separately from your date may be striking up a conversation with someone else. Observe when they ask about the other person, how are they listening or responding to the answer that they are being given? They may, if they are still really attempting to work you up and make themselves out to be wonderful, they are still building themselves up in your social circle, they may be overly attentive, flirty, complimentary, appear to be almost brown-nosing. On the other hand, if they're not interested in doing that, they may show a truer color. And after a few sentences from the other person, they may start, particularly if there's a third person who walks in. When your narcissistic date notices that someone else can do the caring and show empathy, they disengage and start looking at the watch, doing other things, basically through body language, showing that they'd rather be anywhere but having to listen to this person. This may happen with you. They may, while they have moments with you at the party, even be spending a lot of time telling you about their feelings and what their experience is like there. And when you start sharing yours, they may talk over it or not be as responsive to you as you are to them. Note, grandiose narcissists and covert narcissists approach this sometimes in a different way, meaning that it might be more difficult to notice this trend in someone who's being more covert about their narcissistic ops. Have you noticed any conversation hoggers? You may also notice later on, after the party, and as the weeks progress, that when phone conversations or even in person when you're relaxing, they are quick to tell you about their day, to tell you all the intricacies of anything that's happened to them, without thinking to ask you until after they have shared for quite a long time about maybe a number of events and topics. And if or when they do ask about how your day went or how things have been going for you, as you share yours, you might notice it doesn't take as long for a couple of reasons. One, you might be already tired, especially if it's later in the evening and you're getting ready to rest or go to bed for the night. As you're speaking, they may be silent. It's nice when someone is listening to you, but they may not be interacting with you as much. They may not be giving those supportive comments that you have been doing to show you that they are attentive and they're tuning in and staying engaged. So with that lack of feedback, you may tend to, which is what they're absolutely fine with and partly what they're going for, you may slow down, dull down, and stop talking about yourself entirely. All right. This is the wrap up for the Conversation Hoggers. How are we doing? We are going to talk about a biggie. Next episode is going to be about empathy. Okay. Again, I am Dr. Eve Ruiz. Text me. You are free to text me at 949-424-4494. You can check out the description section to find out more about my training background and how I came to do what I do after going to a top 10 medical school and doing 2 residencies in family practice and psychiatry. Please find out how I can serve you. I am here to use my traditional tools as well as energy healing and techniques to help you raise your own vibration and to get past some of the limits that may have been drawn for you when you were younger. A number of you who are dealing with narcissists probably dealt with narcissists in days of old. And because we don't get taught about these features and potholes that we should avoid in school, I am sharing them with you now, and I would love to help you. There is nothing like an in-depth energy healing with ways to help you disengage from old habits and to get into new ones so that you can start being healthier in the way you respond to narcissists. Till next time, namaste.